Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello again, this is CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Boko Haram's leader Abubakar Shekau says he has created an Islamic caliphate in a northeast Nigerian town, Goza, Borno State, seized by the insurgents earlier this month. In a video posted online by the terror group, Shekau says thanks be to Allah who gave victory to our brethren in the town of Goza and made it part of the Islamic caliphate. Abubakar Shekau declared in the 52-minute video that Goza in Borno State now has nothing to do with Nigeria. He stressed that by the grace of Allah, Boko Haram will not leave the town. We have come to say, says Shekau, who has been designated a global terrorist by the United States and sanctioned by the UN Security Council. The United Nations Humanitarian Office earlier this month confirmed reports that Goza was under rebel control. Boko Haram is also believed to be in control of other areas near Goza in southern Borno, as well as large swaths of territory in northern Borno and at least one town in neighboring Yobe State. Nigeria's military authorities have dismissed claims by Boko Haram leader Abubakar of an Islamic caliphate around Goza in Borno State. The Boko Haram leader, who said in the video obtained by AFP on Sunday that an Islamic caliphate is in place in the northeast Nigeria town seized by the insurgents earlier this month. But defense headquarters said in a tweet via its Twitter handle a few minutes later that Shekau's claim is empty. It insists that Nigerian troops would not allow any group of terrorists to lay claim to any portion of the country. The military added that appropriate operations are ongoing to secure the area from insurgents. There's, however, no independent confirmation of the claim and counterclaims from both sides on the status of Goza and surrounding areas. As the battle against insurgents in the northeastern part of Nigeria rages on, the issues generated by the war continues to grow. A security expert, Richard Amuwa, has called on all Nigerians to come together for the fight, which he says can only be won by a collective effort. Amuwa was speaking after appearing as a guest on our Call Digest program, explained that the federal government must encourage all Nigerians to join the fight against Boko Haram, just as it has done in the fight against Ebola virus.
No, whether there's equipment or we don't have enough equipment or we don't have good equipment as the one the Boko Harams are using, that doesn't mean that they must desert. No, what the code says is clear. If you desert, you be court-martial. So the chief of army staff or chief of defense staff that said it is right. So what I'm going to just ask the government to do is to make sure that these people are happy and they have good equipment.
On the issue of alleged mutiny and threat of death sentence for cowardice by military authorities, Amuwa says soldiers are not allowed to desert or rebel against authorities for any reason. However, he urged the government to equip the military better.
Let's take politics out of it. There's no ruling party, there's no opposition party when it comes to security. When 9/11 happened in America, what happened? The Republican and the Democrat, they came together and they worked, and what did happen? So the point I'm making here is that for us to get insurgency out of this country, all hands must be on deck. I repeat myself again, there must be politics out of it.
All Progressives Congress has raised the alarm over an alleged plot to relaunch acronym war against aid. The party says in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed that those behind the plot are unscrupulous and apparently hired hands. Mohammed explained that those plotting against the party were seeking to register 3 new parties that bear the acronyms of the same parties that merged to become the APC. The party had faced similar threat when other organizations had struggled for the APC acronym, with it after emerging from the merger of opposition parties. Its statement reads, those behind the phantom parties who are apparently working at the behest of people who have a mortal fear of the APC have applied to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to register the Allied Council of Nigeria, Advanced National Patriotic Party, and Conservative People's Congress. The fact that the acronyms of the three entities tally with those of the APC component parties, ACN, ANPP, and CPC, is not accidental, but a grand design by those who have been having sleepless nights since the APC was registered. End of quote. A former governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, has alleged that reports from the Judicial Panel of Inquiries set up to probe his administration are being falsified and exaggerated by government propagandists. He debunked some of the reports in a statement by spokesman Ahmad Sajo. Nyako, who was impeached by the State House of Assembly on July 15, has yet to appear before the panel, which started sitting about a fortnight ago. But he denied reports of the proceedings of the panel relating to money he was reported to have paid to the account of his aide-de-camp. He also denied reports on contributions to running costs of the state-owned media houses and the ones relating to consultancy for local government housing scheme. The statement read in part "We have observed with great concern attempt by government propagandists to exaggerate and even falsify reports from the Judicial Panel of Inquiry and to create the wrong impression that whatever policy initiated by the Nyako regime at whatever date had existed throughout the 7 years he ruled the state." End of quote. Lagos State Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General Adepayi has disclosed that the state did not ban motorcycle operators, popularly known as Okada, but placed a restriction on their movement and operations. Adepayi, in an exclusive interview with CoreTV News, says the restriction on the operations and movement of the Okada riders on some major highways was to serve as a life-saving measure owing to the high incidence of deaths and injuries sustained by both cyclists and their passengers. He said the state government has also encouraged the use of protective gears by both cyclists and passengers as part of efforts aimed at stemming the tide of accidents of Okada riders. He, however, insisted that there was never a ban on Okada riding in Lagos.
There was never a ban, and that is what we should get clear. There was a restriction of the operation of Okadas on certain routes, which, by the way, are just about 5% of the total number of roads in Lagos. We are talking about mere 475 roads out of over 9,000. So really, it is a restriction or a restricted prohibition on certain roads.
Meanwhile, the Ekiti State Governor-elect Ayodele Fayose has promised to continue with the projects embarked upon in Ado-Ekiti by the administration of Governor Kayode Fayemi. Fayose, who spoke during this year's annual celebration of the Diroko Festival at the Palace of the Ewi of Ado-Ekiti, Oba Rufus Adejugbe, has also commenced distribution of 10,000 helmets to commercial motorcyclists, Okada riders, to protect them against possible head injury. He told the bike riders that he would not want to drive them out of the roads as an alternative had not been put in place by the Fayemi's administration. Fayose, who promised to complete the multi-million naira ongoing Palace Pavilion as one of the projects to mark his 1 year in office, commended Oba Adejugbe for his leadership role and love for his people, while thanking the people of Ado-Ekiti for voting for him in the June 21 governorship election. He appealed to them to support the People's Democratic Party and its candidates in the 2015 general elections. Well, let's find some other stories here from Iloko-Ijesha. The regent of Iloko-Ijesha, Shola Ogunsoya, and 14 other leaders of the All Progressives Congress who were allegedly arrested and detained by a combined team of policemen, soldiers, and operatives of the Department of State Service are set to drag the security agencies to court. This is contained in a statement made available to journalists by the Director of Publicity, Research and Strategy of the APC in Osun State, Kunle Oyatomi. The applicants, apart from the regent, are Isaac Onojide, Babatola Shegun, Ogungbangbe Sulaiman, Obayemi Ayo, Awokpito Dunayo, Esther Olamijulo, and 8 others. The 15 persons who were allegedly arrested by security agents on the eve and on the governorship election day in Osun State claimed that the alleged illegal arrest was against the order of an Osogbo High Court, which restrained the respondents from engaging in arbitrary arrest of members of the APC. It said despite the court order, the security agents went ahead and arrested, harassed and humiliated him and others for no just reason. The 15 arrested persons, in an application for a court order to enforce their fundamental rights slated to be filed before the Federal High Court sitting in Osogbo, prayed for an order directing the respondents to pay 1 billion naira to each of them as damages. They also prayed the court to order the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police Force and the DSS to tender public apology to each of them. Let's go back to Ekiti. Different cultures and traditions in Nigeria have a way of counting days of the year, which is different from the conventional days and month counting. For Ekiti indigents, the Udiroko, which falls on August 23, signifies the beginning of a new year. Isn't that amazing? The celebration is done yearly amid pomp and pageantry. Rashid was there.
This year's Udiroko brought all sons and daughters of Ado-Ekiti from far and near together. They were all unanimous in their call for the festival to be recognized as an international celebration fully recognized by UNESCO. Ado-Ekiti, an Asian town with close historical tie with the Asian Benin City, have so many festivals, but the Udiroko is the biggest, which Ado indigenes hold so dear to their hearts. Given historical background of the Jiroko festival, the Bafo of Ado-Ekiti, known to be the head of high chiefs and warriors, speaks on the significance of the festival.
It's the first day of Ado-Ekiti, calendar day. So everybody women will turn around with their best attire. The same thing, both men and women. That's the only day that a week, you can see a week once a year. A week in those days doesn't go out. It doesn't go out. But when Idiroko comes, so you have so many people coming to see him.
Ado-Ekiti, the capital city of Ekiti State, plays host to dignitaries in an August occasion like this, thus making the festival not devoid of political shows, especially from the governor-elect Ayo Fayose and frontline Ado indigenes in politics, who stated their desired improvement for the festival.
I want to believe God that I wouldn't want to say anything much, but I will say this gathering, by the grace of God, will be commissioned formally in my first year anniversary.
Right now, we have a governor-elect already from the PDP, and we are sure and we are confident that we will win all other seats like the Senate, the Rep, the House of Rep, and the local government chairman.
The yearly Udiroko festival, which serves as a rallying point for all sons and daughters of Ado-Ekiti due to its peculiarity, spawns frantic calls for the recognition of the festival as a cultural heritage due for international recognition by scholars across the globe.
We need to give this festival the international recognition it deserves. It can serve a lot of as a source of revenue generation for the state and even for the government. The federal government should uplift this festival so that it can be recognized by bodies like the UNESCO, at the international level, because it's a cultural festival that actually strikes at our history.
The yearly Udiroko celebrations is the beginning of a new year for the people of Ado-Ekiti, and they love to celebrate this day, which symbolically marks the beginning of good things to look forward to in the year.
will always be the focal point of African tradition. And as you can see, the Udiroko Festival 2014 has been the high point of keeping cultural heritage. And this has been one of the basic economic value for our country, Nigeria, if well utilized. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
There's celebration in Uduroko, but contrary, on the other side, there's crisis in the Middle East. Find out more on that after this break.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that his Gaza offensive would continue as long as necessary, a day after an Egyptian call for a ceasefire and new truce talks. Operation Protective Edge will continue until its aims are achieved. It may even take time, he said of the Gaza Strip operation launched on July 8 in remarks broadcast by public radio. Israeli airstrikes killed 8 Palestinians in the enclave Sunday as militants kept up rocket fire. A military spokeswoman explained that Israel carried out 27 strikes and 50 rockets were fired from Gaza, 47 of which hit the Jewish state. The Israeli ambulance service says that the 3 people were injured by Palestinian fire at the Erez crossing point between Israel and Gaza, at least one of them in serious condition. According to police sources, they were all Arab public transport drivers waiting in the crossing car park, 2 of them from the southern Israeli town of Rahat and 1 a Palestinian from Israeli-occupied East Jerusalem. The fighting followed Saturday's day of bloodshed in which 60 strikes pounded Gaza, killing 10 Palestinians, mostly women and children, and bringing down a 12-story apartment block. There was still no sign of either side adopting the ceasefire Egypt appealed for on Saturday to allow negotiators to return to Cairo to thrash out the details of a durable truce. A strong 6.0 magnitude earthquake jolted Northern California early Sunday, knocking out power and causing some damage to roads in Napa and Sonoma counties. There were no immediate reports of deaths, injuries, or major damage from the quake, which struck at 3:20 a.m. local time, rousing people from sleep as far away as San Francisco. The epicenter was near American Canyon, 40 miles, 64 kilometers northeast of San Francisco, the U.S. Geological Service said. There was a low likelihood for casualties, it said, but issued an orange alert for possible damage. A rating, which means significant damage is likely and the disaster is potentially widespread. A 2.6 magnitude aftershock hit about 30 minutes afterward, it said. USGS expert Jessica Turner told KCBS Radio that aftershocks of up to 5.0 are likely in the next week. The Californian Highway Patrol closed several off-ramps to highways and at least 2 roads in Napa Valley because of significant roadway damage. Drivers were cautioned to be careful at an intersection of 2 state roads in Napa Valley. Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says Tehran is working to help combat jihadist-led militants, but does not have soldiers in Iraq amid a renewed push for a key oil refinery. The United States, whose warplanes have launched more than 90 airstrikes against Islamic State jihadists in Iraq since August 8, has said operations against the group in Syria may also be necessary. Washington has also ramped up its rhetoric over the beheading in Syria of abducted American journalist James Foley, calling it a terrorist attack against the U.S. Iraq is struggling to regain ground lost to a major ISIS-led militant offensive which began in June and quickly overrun large areas of 5 provinces, sweeping security forces aside. We're cooperating and working with the Iraqi government and with the Kurdish government in order to repel this very serious, atrocious group, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says. As Zarif visited Baghdad, security forces backed by air support battled a renewed militant push towards the Baiji refinery, which once accounted for some 50% of Iraq's supplies of refined petroleum products and has been targeted in the past. And that wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. Join us again at 11 o'clock for more updates. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Core Digest kickstart in just a moment. Stay with us.